Are you planning to attend some open houses this weekend? In this video, quick tips on what to know before you go. Hi, I'm Samantha Scarrillo-Kuziak with the Queen Team, and today we are going to talk about open houses and what to expect before you show up. So open houses, pretty standard. I'm sure many of you watching this video have attended a few open houses before. So here's just some quick tips and tricks to make sure that you're getting the most out of those experiences when you are showing up to those open houses. So first off, I would like to say open houses are an excellent tool for people just trying to kind of get their feet wet. Let's just see what's out there. Let's see what's out there in our price range, just kind of casually looking, taking your search off of the internet, so to speak. Sometimes, again, they're kind of that starter intro into, okay, before then, getting your pre-approval, working with a realtor, and starting to look a little more seriously. Again, awesome tool to kind of just put some feelers out there and see what is out there. Another thing I'll say is it's also an awesome opportunity to meet realtors. So like I said, I don't know, depending on where you're located, but in Manitoba, we do require what's called a service agreement to be signed in order to work with a realtor as a buyer. Before committing yourself to a realtor, open houses are an awesome way to go and meet a couple realtors. So you kind of get to see the realtor in action in a property. Do they have all of the information on the home? Are they personable? Things like that. Could this be a good fit? So also kind of getting yourself out there, and it is a low pressure environment to meet a realtor, so to speak. So if you are planning to attend an open house, I want to give you some tips so that you can kind of get the most out of that experience. So first off, I will say, oftentimes people will come to the door in an open house and they feel a little bit awkward just walking right in. But that is exactly what an open house is for. No need to knock, anything like that. Typically, there will be an agent there to greet you, but feel free to come on in. I will say it is respectful. There's typically a sign-in. If you want to sign in, introduce yourself to the realtor, take off your shoes, and then kind of feel free to wander around the property. Like I said, checking in with that realtor, typically they'll also kind of give you a little bit of a spiel on the home. Again, they're there to answer any questions you may have. So if you have looked at the home online and you come to the open house and you have any questions, things like maybe mechanicals, how old is the roof, things like that, all awesome questions to ask. Just a little side note here as well, just kind of etiquette things too to kind of be aware of. First, like we kind of already said, introduce yourself to the host agent, maybe check in if they have a sign-in sheet, remove your shoes, but also I would say try to arrive between the scheduled times. So the agent might be setting up right before and might have to head to another appointment right after. So if the open house is between 1 and 3, try to kind of land yourself there in that time frame. Once you're there, like I said, feel free to poke around the home. People always feel weird sometimes about like opening up closets, pantries, things like that. That's not a problem. Anything that comes with the house, feel free to take a peek around. However, I will say you don't want to be in the position where you're rummaging through doors or in drawers or furniture or anything like that. Those things don't come with the home, so there's no reason that we need to be opening up furniture in an open house. I like to say, kind of general rule of thumb, treat it as if you were in someone else's home, because typically you are. The seller still lives there and you are a guest in someone else's home, so just try to treat it with respect. Another thing to keep in mind too is we don't want to damage or anything like that. Oftentimes people want to see, okay, is there hardwoods under the carpets? Maybe ask the host agent before we start ripping up carpets or anything like that. Again, treat it as if you were a guest in someone else's home. And in order for you to get the most out of the open house and to get to know a little bit more about the property, you want to think about asking smart questions. So maybe doing a little bit of digging on the home up front. And then when you get there, I would say some really good questions to ask are, first of all, do you know any of the ages on some of the mechanicals? So think hot water tank, furnace, shingles, things like that. If the agent knows or the seller knows, they likely have that information to provide to you. So again, just to get a sense of when you are looking at homes and what's kind of in your price range, you kind of see, okay, does this house need a little bit more work, or are these things all kind of maintained up to snuff? Again, just a really good question that gives you some background on the property. I know myself as an agent, when I'm at an open house and a open house attendee comes and asks me some of those questions, I like to give them all of that information, right? And then it also helps you get into a conversation with that realtor to see if you're kind of a good fit for them. Another question you can ask the realtor is there an offer date on the property? One, if you're already seriously looking and working with an agent, that gives you that information, when do we have to be ready by? But also, if you're not quite there yet, it gives you some information about the home. If there is an offer date on the property, very likely currently what's happening right now in the Winnipeg market, that home might not sell for the list price. It might sell a little higher than that. So again, just information to know, is it going to be competitive or not? I always caveat that with no one has a crystal ball. A home could have an offer date and offers could pass. Doesn't mean necessarily multiple offers. However, it is a strategic marketing tool to set it up that way. Another good question to ask is, has the seller completed a property disclosure statement? If the seller's completed a property disclosure statement, the agent likely has it on hand. So if you're not familiar, it is our form that asks the seller any questions to the best of their knowledge about the home. Things like, has there ever been any water in the basement? Or have we ever had any rodent infestations? Things like that. A little bit more information about the property. I will also caveat this with, if you are in a little bit more of a serious stage of looking, if you're asking the realtor that is at the open house all of these questions, just keep in mind that they are there for the seller. So try not to divulge a ton of information about yourself, maybe your current standing, your pre-approval, all of that stuff, if you were planning on potentially making an offer on the property. Just a little tip. So again, just going back to trying to find really good questions to ask that will give you a little bit more information on the property. So again, the host agent is there to help you. If you have any questions, don't be shy. That's what they're there for. I will say I often find people a little bit further along in their journey as well coming to the open house. Oftentimes you hear, yeah, we have a realtor. We're just here because they're out doing whatever, or we're trying to be mindful of their time, and that's totally fine. But being upfront about, I am working with an agent, this is their name, as the host agent at that open house, that's great for us, great info for us as well, because then we can always say, okay, great, if you have any questions, I'm here if you need me. However, if your agent has any questions, they also can reach out to us. Is that opportunity to connect those two agents, and then if you are serious about the property, ensuring that your agent is getting the info about the property as well. So again, kind of big takeaway is open houses are a great way to get your feet wet, see what's out there, great opportunity to meet realtors, and just kind of gain some knowledge about the market that you're currently looking in. So if you have any questions about the process, or questions about open houses, questions about the purchasing process in general, feel free to reach out. Once again, I'm Samantha Scribilo-Kuziak with the Queen team of Ethos. If you found this information valuable, feel free to subscribe below.